this is Frank with rcFoamFighters. Welcome back to Bullet Plane Build Part 3. Today we're going to go ahead and get started installing all of the main components. So let's get going. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is install the servos, control rods, and control horns onto the wing. As you can see, I've cut off the ears on the servos because I'm going to be embedding them into the wing, so I don't need them to mount them onto anything. I've cut the notches already into the wing where the servos are going to go into, and I'm just going to hot glue them in there. I cut through the top layer of the KF airfoil and into the second layer of the wing, the same shape as the servo, and I'm just going to insert them in there and hot glue them down. And that's about how they're going to fit in there. Okay, before I glue the servos in, I want to make sure that the servo arms are nice and centered. So I've gone ahead and soldered the speed controller up, and I plugged everything in, and it's been tested. Everything's working good, and it's all lined up good. So I'm good to go. Okay, as you can see, I pretty much have the wing assembly almost completely assembled, except for the rear stabilizers, which I'll be putting on towards the end of the build. I have the two servos hot glued in, the control rods are in place, along with the control horns. The ailerons are already hinged on there. I used clear tape on the top and black tape on the bottom for the hinge material. The radio's hooked back up, so I'm going to go ahead and test it. Alright, we got good up and down, and left and right. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and continue on with the build. Okay, as you can see, I've got the plane almost completely done. The fuselage is glued down onto the wing with hot glue. I have the rear stabilizers hot glued on. I wanted to go over a couple of the things before I go ahead and glue the top piece on. I did have to make one modification on the back. I had to cut off the back piece where the motor mounts to make it fit better because of the stick mount. The stick mount is just supported with some 3/32 basswood, which I used to stiffen it up. And I also put some foam board bulkheads in there to help stiffen the body up, because that's probably where I'm going to be holding on to the plane when I go to launch it, and I don't want it collapsing on me. The front also, I reinforced the nose with some foam. I had some scrap EVP laying around, but regular styrofoam would have worked as well, so I just filled in the nose. And I also put a piece of foam board over the top of where the battery is going to be. That way, when the plane's doing rolls and stuff, there's fit the battery inside so it won't be bouncing around inside the plane. The speed controller and the receiver are just velcroed down into the body. I made a little platform for the receiver. It sits above where the servos are. I also had to make some extensions from the speed controller to the motor because the wires weren't long enough. Okay, I have the top piece of the fuselage glued on at the front of the plane, all the way to the back of the cockpit where it's hinged. It's secured down at the back of the plane with 4 magnets. 2 of them are taped on to the lower piece of the fuselage, and 2 of them are taped onto the top piece. And it clicks down pretty nice and tight and holds it there pretty good. Okay, to make the hinge for the hatch on the top piece of the fuselage, I just made an extra fold cut on the bottom side of the foam board and reinforced it with some strapping tape. This makes a good strong hinge that should last a long time. Alright, I've also cut the shaft down on the motor. I usually like to cut it down to where the prop adapter butts up against the bell of the motor. The main reason I do this is in case of a crash. It helps keep the shaft from getting bent and also prevents the shaft from being pushed through the motor on the other side. Hey everyone, this pretty much concludes the build portion of my bullet plane. Except for a few minor cosmetic details that I'm going to take care of. So be sure to come back next weekend for part 4, where we go over pre-flight setup and some static testing. And if weather permits, we'll take her out for a maiden flight. I'm also going to be doing a complete breakdown on the total cost of the plane, and I will also try to go over the features of the plane and what I think is going to help make it go faster. Thanks for watching RC Foam Fighters. This is Frank. Bye.